Well, President-elect Trump tonight is taking a bow for an election promise that he fulfilled even before assuming the presidency.
Mr. Trump's much publicized bid to save hundreds of jobs at an Indiana factory is paid off. But at what cost? KCAL 9 political reporter Bryan joins us now with a look at Mr. Trump's thank you tour.
That's right, and his day didn't end with the first stop because there were two stops actually today. Tonight, Donald Trump in his first campaign-style rally since the election got a rousing reception in Ohio, one of the key states in his upset victory strategy. It was Trump's way of thanking his fired-up supporters, and it sounded very much like his campaign speeches.
It's time to remove the rust from the Rust Belt and usher in a new industrial revolution. We're going to do it.
Kicking off his thank you tour, President-elect Donald Trump Thursday night returned to his campaign's Midwestern roots, addressing a cheering crowd in Cincinnati and confirming reports that he would soon be naming his nominee for Defense Secretary, retired Marine Corps General James Mattis, known to be a scholarly military figure and a tough, no-nonsense Marine leader, all rolled into one.
We are going to appoint Mad Dog Mattis as our Secretary of Defense. They say he's the closest thing to General George Patton that we have, and it's about time.
And while acknowledging the country is still deeply divided after the bitter and angry campaign, Trump called for national unity.
We condemn bigotry and prejudice in all of its forms. We denounce all of the hatred, and we forcefully reject the language of exclusion and separation. We're going to come together.
Earlier, Trump spoke in Indianapolis about saving nearly 1,000 U.S. jobs which were headed to Mexico, but were rescued by millions of dollars in tax relief from the state and Trump's phone calls to company leaders.
They say it's not presidential to call up these massive leaders of business. I think it's very presidential.
Emboldened by the jobs rescue in Indiana, Trump made a thinly veiled threat to other companies that may be considering moving jobs out of the U.S.
Companies are not going to leave the United States anymore without consequences. Not going to happen.
But the jobs were rescued by more than Trump. The state of Indiana agreed to a $7 million tax relief package for the company over the next decade, in addition to the prospect of lower federal corporate taxes and fewer regulations. And while saving 1,000 jobs out of 159 million is a good start, it's only a drop in the bucket. Nonetheless, some of the workers reacted with emotion.
Crying, relieved, Christmas coming, you know, everybody's heads up.
I'm very thankful that he did follow through because he didn't have to. He could have just said that and walked away.
But not far from the Carrier plant, another manufacturer is planning on shipping 300 jobs to Mexico soon, including Bryan Reed's job.
I can't put it in words. I mean, the 300 people I work with, things just went through my mind, and it just is just devastating. With what Mr. Trump did, it does give a sense of hope for the American working class. I don't know that personally it will affect my factory.
But Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders warns in a Washington Post op-ed piece the Carrier deal could have unintended consequences. Charging Trump's deal could now endanger jobs of workers whose companies may now threaten to send jobs overseas unless they get millions of dollars in tax incentives and other concessions. House Speaker Paul Ryan applauded the Trump job rescue.
Pretty happy that we're keeping jobs in America, aren't you?
Now, Trump, of course, won't take office until January 20th, but this rally-style event in Cincinnati tonight may become part of his presidential strategy when he does move into the White House, firing up his supporters over controversial issues and programs he's trying to pass and putting more pressure on his opponents. Peter?